In the first video of this build series, I showed you breaking down all the material, shaping the parts, and starting on the joinery. I used my GoPro and I had a lot of fun with that. This video won't be quite as exciting. I'll just go into showing you a little bit more about how I put these together. Here I'm using my multi-router to finish off the mortise and tenon joinery that holds all these chairs together. This is the first time I've built a batch of these chairs using this machine. And before this, I would use special jigs that I made or handheld router tables to produce the mortise and tenon joinery. And I really like using this machine. It makes the setup and repeatability a lot faster, and I've been really happy to get it. Here I'm making a mortise for the stretcher that goes in the bottom of the chair legs, which receives a profile on the edge of it to give it kind of rounded over look. And using router bit to make the square, I could actually round over the stretchers before I put it all together, and that saved me a lot of time trying to go back and sculpt them later on. The headrest and the sole of the chair needed to be mortised out to receive the back slats that we did, and we did that in a previous video where we milled up and bent form laminated cherry and maple back slats. And so we used the mortiser to get square mortises that would make putting them in there quite a bit easier. The center slat is put in straight, but the two outside are in an arc to make it more comfortable for your back. So I used a shim in the mortiser to hold them at the angle I needed to put the mortise in. Once all the joinery had been done, I could take it over and finish off shaping the arcs and the curves for the pieces. The headrest is one of the more complicated pieces of the chair. It actually has quite a bit going on, curves in different directions and angles, and so it takes quite a bit to get those cut out. Once the headrest has been cut with the curve in the front and the angled curve in the back, I can take it and cut a curve into the top as well. Here I'm cutting out what's called the sole of the chair. It's the bottom rail that holds the back slats. The back slats are the last thing to cut out and shape before I start fitting everything together, and they all get arced inward and kind of end up looking like if you had a mirrored image of the old Atari logo. So that's about it for the machine work on these chairs. For the rest of the time, there's a little bit of routing that will be done later on, but for the most part, the rest of it will all be, the fitting and the finishing will all be done using hand tools. I used to do woodworking by hand, but I found that it was just really hard on my fingernails, so I started using hand tools instead. Once I'm happy with how all the joinery has turned out, I can turn my attention to the fun part, and that's using my spoke shaves and everything to clean it up and get it ready for finish. This is my favorite stage of chair building, when you get in there with the spoke shaves and get rid of all the tool marks and clean it up and get them ready for finish. It's a lot of fun. Especially a lot of fun when you have all your tools tuned up and working really well. Now that I've gotten rid of all of the machine marks and cleaned everything up, made them all smooth, I can go in and use the router to kind of round over some of the parts that will be difficult to get at later on, where some of the pieces come together. Before I glue the chairs together, I dry fit everything to make sure that there's not going to be any snags when I go to glue it together. I want to make sure that all the joinery is looking good and everything is going to be nice and tight. If you have to do any last minute adjustments to the joinery, now is the time to do it. You can't do it when you have a glue brush in your hand. Gluing up chairs is never an easy thing, and I've said before that the Yeti, the Bigfoot, and an easy glue up, they're all mythical creatures. You're never going to see them. But over the years, I've kind of developed a little strategy on gluing up chairs, so I'll show how I do it. It's not perfect, but it works. I use Titebond 3 to glue these together instead of a hide glue or another glue. You just gotta kind of hurry and get it before the joint seize, and it works good. Once I get them all glued together and all clamped up tight, I'll go back with a damp rag with just some water, and I'll clean off the excess glue, trying to get really tight into the joints so that it makes it cleaning up and sanding it and everything for finish easier later on. That was the first chair that got glued up, and now I'll show you the last chair that got glued up. I want the bottom stretchers of the chairs to hold up and be really well seated in the chairs. So I will mill them to the perfect thickness, and then I'll stick them in a light box kiln for a few days. And that gets rid of some of the humidity in there, and they shrink down. And then when I'm gluing them together, they just slip right in. And then as everything equalizes, they swell back up, and everything fits easy, and it just makes glue up a lot easier. Glue the chairs together in stages. I'll do one side first and then the other, and then I can mash the two together, and it seems to work out pretty well. a fun time when I get the last chair glued together. All that hard work is all done. No more joinery, no more gluing together. All the headache is done. But it kind of makes the shop seem a lot smaller because now I got a ton of chairs in there. Again, I'll finish off putting all the clamps on there and getting everything sucked together tight, making sure all the joinery looks good, and then I'll go around with a damp rag and clean off the excess glue, and they'll sit overnight or for a few days, and then I can come back and start doing all the detail work and getting everything ready for finish. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in episode 3 when we do all the finish work and put the finish on them and ship them away. Don't forget to like and subscribe to see more.